Welcome to the High Level Spotlight Sessions. Hey there, high level enthusiasts, marketers, and SaaSpreneurs. I'm JB, and you're tuned in to the podcast that's all about taking your high level game to new heights. Each week, we bring in top industry experts who dive deep into strategies that drive success specifically for high level users, whether it's getting more customers, leveling up your knowledge, or supercharging your high level with new strategies. We've got you covered. Today's episode is Conversations That Connect, the human side of timely conversations. Today, I'm thrilled to have Jeff Vanasdal, the founder of List Builder, joining us. Jeff and his team specialize in building email and SMS lists and make it super easy to sell more products and services for your business. We've put together an episode, and this episode will be discussing three important parts: having the right conversations at the right time, the power of social engagement, and perception is reality. And this episode is packed with insights tailored just for you, high levelers. Let's get started. Jeff, it's great to finally have you on the show. We've been back and forth, but to kick things off, could you tell us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to get more focused on the human side of timely conversations?
Hey JB, dude, thanks so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it, and always good to connect with you. Um, so a little bit about my background. I've always been into the chatbot side of things, and really that is how I really dove into my agency. And I might touch base on my background a little bit more later, but that's how everything started. It's just having that right conversations at the right time and not being afraid to put yourself out there and just booking the one-way ticket in a sense. And you'll realize that later. And just you just never know if you don't try. So um yeah.
Yeah, so you hit it where you booked the one-way ticket. I know we spoke briefly about this. Do you mind kind of sharing? Because you didn't just wake up and say, I want to be a marketer. You've been at this for some time and you went through some challenges, right? You went through some kind of check yourself from the neck up kind of approaches here. Do you mind sharing a little bit about your personal journey and how that transitioned into having an open mind and a positive mindset to get where you're at today?
Yeah, of course. So how I started my agency is I was working full time for a company called Can-Am. You might be familiar with them. They're kind of like Yamaha or Kawasaki. They built ATVs, side by sides, motorcycles, and I was in charge of their social media. Um, how I got that job, in a sense, is I actually was at other events, like kind of like what you guys have for the marketing space. When I was writing articles at the time for a magazine, and I always talk about social media, how I just had a passion for social media, and I just talking to people. And this other editor from the magazine, he's like, "Hey man, Can-Am's looking for a social media manager." I was like, "Oh man, that'd be awesome." So that night, I made my resume look just like the Can-Am website, but with all pictures of me on Can-Am's. So I sent that in. Sure enough, I got the job, and for the well, since 2020, I was working for him for 5 years. It was like a dream job for any young guy coming up. I was driving all the commercials and getting to run all the social media on the back end. So I was like in charge of like 4 million followers at the time. And then COVID hit, of course. And just like a lot of people, lost my job. I just got a call one day, and my boss was like, "Hey man, I got some bad news. We gotta let you go," because they thought the industry was going to go under. It was like right at the beginning of COVID. So yeah, I was out of a job for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, and I was sitting on the back porch with my wife. My wife was paying for all the bills at the time. She was actually my girlfriend at the time, and I was scrolling through social media, and I see a a post from like Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank. Remember Kevin Harrington? He's like the OG shark. He was having an event with a guy I knew, and the event was taking place in California. And I saw it, I was like, you know what? I could probably do something with this. So we mosey in the house, and I pull up my laptop. We were watching a movie. I'm just sitting on the couch. I'm like, I click on the link. That event Kevin Harrington was having with the guy I knew. The event was like $10,000 to go to it. And I was like, well, I can't go to that. I'm dead broke, dude. I don't, man, I don't think I had like 500 bucks to my name. And what I did was I took all the questions they had in the application to come to the event and just made a chatbot. Uh, and then I sent it off to the guy that was having the event. He's like, dude, this is awesome. Like, how do we start working with you? How do we get this thing going? And I don't know why, but I was just so excited. I'm like, I'll tell you what, I'll be out there tomorrow. And my wife looked at me. She goes, you talking to Nick? Doesn't he live in California? I said, yeah. She's like, you just told me you'd be in California tomorrow. It was like Tuesday at like 6 o'clock. I live in Indiana. And you could probably guess what she said, asked me next, because I was dead broke. She goes, you getting paid for this? And I was like, I don't know. But I had it in my mind, like, this is it. Like, this is a huge opportunity because I knew that guy knew a bunch of business owners in an event with Kevin Harrington. Like, come on. Um, so I took the money I had and booked the one-way ticket to California. And the next day at 9 a.m., I had breakfast with that guy. And I was out there for like I think 3, 4 days, ended up picking up a few clients out there and had enough money to fly back home. And that's what kicked off my agency.
Yeah, man. And you know, you took a bet on yourself, right? Obviously took a bet on yourself. You obviously believed that you have this talent that it was time for you to showcase, but you probably didn't really realize how to do it 100%, right? But you figured if this gentleman who's well known, OG Shark, his event's $10,000 to get in, I'm taking a chance because you just don't get this type of opportunity out of nowhere except you. You did, which was awesome. And it sounds like, at the time your girlfriend was really supportive and she definitely believed in you. So, when we talk about timely conversations, I think that's the perfect example. It was the right time, the right intuition, the right cues that you took, and you went for it 100%. And as, you started evolving into this agency owner mindset, when did you start to really look at it as a business with conversations and relationships fueling it versus the business that just makes you money or you hope it makes you money?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, where my mind goes right now is just back to those conversations is putting yourself out there. Like I grew my agency like doing that, like getting networking face to face and just being there and creating your own luck in a sense. And then as far as the chatbot side of things go, it just dude, you guys like at high level in the sense like you can't back to this story. One thing I want to say about when I was in California, the guy was using I was like, hey, how are you texting your leads back for this event? And it was just going to a spreadsheet from he was using ClickFunnels at the time. I was like, dude, you ever heard of HighLevel? He's like, no, no. So I sent him up with HighLevel about out there, and that's that was actually my first HighLevel client.
And that was like at that time probably like a hidden level, right? It's like playing video games back in the 90s, right? These hidden levels, these hidden doors. And how did you find out about high level at that time? I mean, how long before did you know about high level during this whole Can-Am, transition from working there, dream job to being outside looking in, figuring out what are we doing next?
I think one of my buddies that I met at like a mastermind event, he told me about HighLevel, and then the original idea was to build HighLevel out for dealerships, like ATV dealerships, just because I've been riding ATVs and dirt bikes since I was 8. That was the original plan. I remember getting on a call with Sean and Robin, and them trying to set up things for me, like my Twilio and all that, which was super cool. I can't say enough about those guys. So I think I had it for like a year or something, and then just slowly started picking up clients, and then going into like a mastermind space just because I was kind of affiliated with that. Uh, that's kind of how I started with high level.
Yeah, man. And that was, what year was that about? Was that 2022, 2021?
It was, yeah, 2020,
Wow.
2019, something like that. Yeah.
Time flies, man. Time
Yeah.
flies. And I think, with what we put together with our topics here, if you never had the conversations, right? If you never put yourself first to say, hey, this is what I like to do, or here's how I can help you, you probably wouldn't be where you're at now, right? If you were just waiting for the luck to come to you, and you said it earlier, you make your own luck. And could you share a little bit on how you go about making your own luck every day, especially in the space that we're in? How do you go about that?
Well, I just I try if I learn something, like for example, I watch the high level videos all the time, and I just think of different use cases and scenarios where I could apply that particular feature. You guys have like crazy amount of features now. I want to go in and actually apply that like quick. Versus there's a lot of people that just watch videos over and over and over again and consume. Well, you're not gonna make your own luck with that. You just like you're learning, and I did the same thing.
Me too.
But the biggest thing and the biggest growth that I've had in my business is just you learn something, run with it. And I think that's how you make your own luck. Like you don't, I mean, what are you gonna do? Sit around and be like, oh yeah, I know how to do it. But if you can't apply what you just learned and actually put yourself out there in front of those people, you're not really gonna make big moves.
I think it's the guru mindset of, I know it all, I know a lot, I know more than you. But how good is that, and how valuable is that if you don't know how to apply it? If somebody were to raise their hand in a webinar or some sort of gathering and say, "Hey Jeff, you have a great product. How do you set this up?" And then you have to say, "Let me go find a tech, or let me go find somebody that can help you." Right? Like, being all in is so important. And we see it with our founders at HighLevel. These guys are all in. I mean, obviously, we have our CTO, Varun, we have Sean, we have Robin, right? And they're all techie, but they also know how to get deep in the weeds. And it sounds like you practice that, and creating your own luck for high levelers, for SaaSpreneurs, for high level enthusiasts. Really, like Jeff said, it's getting in there and practicing. Even if you do it twice, but three times is a great charm. If you do it three times and get into it, you have a better chance of retaining it than doing it never. So let's talk about having those right conversations at the right time. How do we go about engaging with an audience? Let's just put ourselves in the shoes of a high leveler, a SaaSpreneur, marketer. They're looking to now bring on, recruit new clients. Maybe they have a new strategy, or they're now rejuvenated with their approach, and they want to bring on these clients, and they have a following, whether it's a list, whether it's social media, or whether it's paid ad engagement. How do you go about engaging today's audience? I mean, with a bunch of people that are saying, "Oh, don't cold DM me," or "Don't, just randomly message me." What is the right way?
Well, I like doing lead magnets and giveaways. That's what we specialize with List Builder. Is building this email and SMS list. For a while, I struggled, and I think a lot of people, they're like, there's so many things you could do with high level. It's like, okay, what direction want I go? And and what I recommend is just try stuff out. Just see what you like. Put something together, and then don't be afraid to put it out for free. Like, hey, I'll build this chatbot out for you, or this funnel, or this landing page, or a website, just to get your first customer and get that feedback. And if it works and they see value in it, then start selling it. But with list building, that's what I chose high level with is just like building the email and SMS list. I realized like I could do everything with high level, but one thing that I keep going back to is growing email and SMS lists, and that's done through the chatbots. So, for example, one of the clients we just did project for, he was doing a giveaway to it was like for it's called Recycle Firefighter. Um, they build like wallets and flags and stuff out of recycled fire hose, and we built a chat bot. All it was is just, hey, comment, trigger word like flag, I think in this case. And with HighLevel, you could trigger that comment back now, which I was using in the past with MiniChat. That was like a big thing. So it's the comments feature. So they say flag, and it'll say, "Hey, looks like you want to enter to win our free Firehose flag," and then say yes, and then that's when it sends the link, either the link to go to a landing page, or you could build out that bot where it collects, "Hey, what's your name, email, phone number? Do you want to join your SMS list?" And that's it's worked wonders for him. I think in 2 months he's grew his email and SMS list to like 15,000. And same thing for SMS, like growing that SMS list. I think he grew it like 8 to 10,000 in 2 months and doubled his sales.
Yeah, and I mean that can make a big difference for an e-commerce business. I mean, obviously, you know, doing Google ads and doing Facebook ads, those are all parts of promoting an e-commerce business. But I think, what you're positioning here is an organic approach where you put something that is of value, whether it's information, it's an insight, and then they opt into that value by either liking and then commenting or sending a message. And then it sounds like you're not going the old school way of just pulling up a website with an opt-in form. You're immediately engaging with them as if you were the human being, but instead using a bot.
Exactly.
And if
Uh,
I were to look at this as a newbie, let's say I'm new to HighLevel and I'm thinking, all right, this sounds like a good idea. Well, I need to obviously have an impeccable offer or impeccable value to attract my ideal client. And then after I have that offer, I set up the conversation AI within HighLevel, or I hire someone like yourself to help me build it out. And then while doing so, it's that two-way organic conversation. Is that the secret ingredient, that two-way conversation?
Definitely. And not only is it one-on-one, like you and I talking right here, it feels a lot more
Mhm,
personal than
mhm.
hey, here's the link. And it's just like, okay, you lose them. They're on Instagram or Facebook and they're there because they're probably bored. I mean, I think the average now is like you scroll a mile on your phone every day. Uh,
I agree
yeah.
because I mean I'm finding I never really posted a lot, but now I'm finding myself posting more and I found myself scrolling more because the information that at least I'm subscribing to based on my search habit is a lot better than what it was before, right? It's more interesting. And I
Yeah.
think that, if I take what advice you just gave, if I have that great offer and I have this conversation bot set up, that if I have the people that are looking for what I offer or looking for something similar to it, those are great candidates that are going to engage if everything is set up properly.
Yeah. One of the biggest things I've seen when I was doing social media, like I've been doing social media since MySpace was around. You remember MySpace?
Oh man.
Uh, one of the still today, one of the biggest things I've seen brands do, especially managing a huge account, is the speed to lead. If you can respond to that lead, it feels more personal. They're going to be like, oh my, I remember this was before I even worked for Can-Am. I remember I got a message back from Can-Am, like they liked my post or something. I was like, dude, this is awesome. That is the feeling like brands can connect with that person one on one and they make like that person fall in love with that brand even more. Like, dude, that is so cool. So that was really what I was focusing on was at Can-Am, just replying to people. That went such a far way, but now it's super easy because you can just add a bot that you build an HighLevel and it just responds automatically. And there's so many use cases now.
You just brought some deja vu. I was at a conference and there was I was in that, heading to the gym. I was in that like real mindset, hype mood, had some music on, did a quick video, tagged Red Bull, and immediately like four Red Bull accounts liked it. One commented, one said, "Hey, I want to send you some stuff." And I'm like, all right, cool. Like it threw
Yeah.
me off. And I think the feeling that you're describing is the feeling that I had, which was, all right, this brand either has someone savvy behind it, they get it, or this is just a cool way that they're going out and about and saying that, we're listening and we're watching. Thank you for your support. And the connection that you get organically to that for a big brand is much more powerful than someone saying, "Hey, Red Bull's good." Right? You almost start to be their advocate without being asked to. And when you had mentioned Can-Am, like you used to ride dirt bikes, man. You used to enjoy it. You probably knew all the makes and models. And when Can-Am reached out to you, and then you became part of the Can-Am team on their social, the attachment was probably very fluid and forever. So I think you share something that is basic, right? Like we know this already as marketers. You need to automate, speed to lead. But I think we get so caught up in how do we do it better than what we're doing it now. And like sometimes we hit a ceiling and we're like, oh, it's not working anymore. How do you how do you stay open-minded without, if you don't get a new result from it, how do you train yourself to at least keep it running in the background? How do you go about like building upon it, not replacing things or ripping things out if they don't meet your needs anymore?
Um, well, I think where I go with that is, so I mentioned I build email and SMS lists for ecom brands. Well, I did one for she owned a like a med spa aesthetic, like Botox and stuff, and we did a giveaway for her. And within a week, we booked her like 29 appointments, and without any ad spend or anything like that. And it equated to like an extra 20K in her pocket, basically. That was a giveaway. That was before HighLevel had conversational AI and AI in general. And it was a giveaway, $500 gift card giveaway. And I was like, well, she's not going to want to do a giveaway every month. Like that's gonna kind of saturate the market. I was like, great. All right, so what can I do now? So what I did was when AI came about, I still was doing the giveaway still, but I used the AI as that filler. Like I didn't know what else to do. And she just dropped off because she didn't want to do giveaway every month. So I lost that client. Well, now with AI, you do giveaways and you could do FAQ bots where it can answer any questions they might have. Hey, are you guys open on Friday? Are hey, how much do you charge for this stuff? Now I have that monthly recurring, and they have a reason why they're going to pay for my services every month versus just doing a giveaway, every month, which I don't think they're going to do. In that case, they didn't.
I agree. And it sounds like you pivoted, right? You leverage this technology. And again, back to the timely response, back to the conversations of connecting the human to human. Putting that process in really starts to get people to stay engaged with the brand and say, hey, look, this is probably someone I'm going to work with because they're getting back to me quick. Everybody else doesn't respond. So, I appreciate you going a little bit in depth on that because, again, we understand conversations are important. We understand AI is helpful. We understand that there's speed to lead, but sometimes we just don't understand how to make it work for us individually or our clients. So I want to talk about next here the power of social engagement, right? How do you go about leveraging social media interactions to build that stronger connection for your business and for your clients?
Yeah, that is something like I'm trying to put out more content just for my own personal brand. I actually just hired a full-time video editor last Monday to do more content for me and then my brands as well. But I think pushing out content, it can't be just pushing your product all the time. It has to be engaging. It has to be like pushing out stories about, how you got started, about yourself, about the brand, funny stories, trending topics too. That's a good one. And then back to like getting people to engage with the chatbots. Now with the comments feature, you can actually automatic comment reply back, and it sends a DM. And I was going to mention this earlier. The algorithm will actually provide you with more reach. The more DMs, the more comments you get, the more organic reach your posts are going to get too. So that comments feature alone, like that's going to boost your engagement rate and get more likes, views, everything like that, just because people are engaging with you more. on social media, which is the whole purpose of social media versus consuming. You want people to engage with you and build that one-on-one relationship.
Yeah, and I've even noticed now, maybe it's been around for a while, but I've even noticed that now there's a metric on the Instagram posts that shows you how many times it was shared through Messenger.
Oh yeah, that's a huge indicator now for the algorithm.
And I mean, there's memes about it, and I'm guilty of it too. Like I have like five or six people that I'll send different messages to depending on their humor level. And my humor level is a little bit wide, so I kind of fit the humor level of five of my closest friends, which is kind of weird, but it's I'm forwarding it to them because I'm seeing the content and there's relatability to it. So I think, for a high leveler, a SaaSpreneur or a marketer getting into the ecosystem, it- social media is forcing themselves to level up their interaction experience. And to your point, engagement can start through message by giving or putting together a chatbot or an AI bot to give the basic information. It could be by a giveaway, like you mentioned. It could
Mhm.
be by comments and trigger words that people are doing, and then that's through high level that's shifting a message or an offer link or some additional information to them directly.
Yeah, no more
Um,
link in the bio. That is,
no more,
you
right?
know,
Like that was a big thing.
yeah.
Now it's a message, a link in the message, right? Or an interaction in the message of let's talk a little further. With the clients that you take on that aren't savvy, right? They know they need AI, right? And I put AI in quotes because everybody has a different definition of AI, a different expectation of AI. But they reach out to you, or you reach out to them through a networking event or meeting them in person. How do you set those expectations with social media engagement and results?
Really depends on the offer. If it's a great offer people resonate with, it's going to do really well. And the other thing too is when we take on a new client, we see, all right, do you have like followers is one metric, but it's kind of a vanity metric. What we really want to look at is an engagement rate. So anywhere between like 0.5% and one and above, 1% and above is great, which seems so crazy, like 1%. Well, when you post on social media, I don't know if people know this, but it only goes out to a very, very small percent of your audience. And then it's up to the algorithm. If people interact and they actually watch, say it's a video all the way to the end, it's a good indicator like, oh, this is an engagement. It's engaging video. And then it also takes into account how many people like it, how many people comment, and if you can get more comments, likes, and DMs, it's gonna naturally go viral in a sense. So that's kind of the metrics we look at. And then we just develop offer. Usually if it's a giveaway, we start with a gift card, but we also ask, what's your end goal? Do you want to book more appointments? Do you want to sell more products? So then we know what we need to do in the DMs. What do we want to collect? Is it name, email, phone number? And then the other thing too, I like to do is segment the audience. So say if it's like I'm just gonna stick with dirt bike stuff. Say if it's a off-road brand, but they do say a tire company. In the DMs, we can say, hey, do you own a truck, side by side, ATV, go-kart, whatever, car? And then we ask, oh, cool, what kind of car do you have? And we can they say, oh, yeah, I own a 2022 Toyota Corolla. And then we could take that data that we just collected, save it to a custom user field in HighLevel. And now when we go send emails and SMS blast to that list, we can segment the list to say like the tire company just rolled out a new tire for a car tire. Well, we could just pull up the list of every person that said they own a car, and we can blast that list versus sending out a broad email blast to every single person in our list. So then your conversion rate on the back end is going to be much higher.
But it takes so much time and so much effort. Is it worth it?
It's definitely worth it. The same guy I was telling you about, he'll probably be watching this too. He liked what I did so much for the AI chatbot stuff. I got him turned on to HighLevel. He got his own HighLevel, and now he is selling AI chatbot services. So we're doing
Boss.
fulfillment for him, and now he has an AI chatbot company and consulting company. So if that tells you anything, I don't know what else I could say there.
Sometimes, and I've been there, right? I've been there personally, and I know people that are there now where it's like it shouldn't be so much effort. It shouldn't be so. You shouldn't have to go through all these steps. We're in 2024, right? This should be easy. Well, I think, in our journey, we forget that people's interests change quickly and their emails change quickly, their phone numbers change quickly. And if you don't have that segmented list, you're just going to be shooting out information to the air. And I think, with what you do at List Builder and us speaking offline, it's a very meticulous process, very detailed process that you're sifting through your list, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly. You're making sure the tags, if there's no tags, you're re-engaging with them. You're looking at the opening rate. You're looking at the response rate. You're looking at their history, any notes that are in HighLevel based on one of your clients, staff members, or you or your staff members are documenting any information to really determine, does this person belong in the A list, the B list, or the other list?
Yeah.
And list building alone is it's a job. You're right. It's a focus point. Could you share a little bit about if someone is getting into HighLevel, right, and they're inspired to kind of start fresh on how they organize their communications? What would you give advice on with building a list today? And then how does that list translate to be used into social media?
Well, a lot of times, especially with like realtors that are bringing on, they have a list already, but they maybe it's a list they haven't hit, and they don't really have they have the data on the back end, so it's like they have notes, for example. Well, what I tell them, just go through your current list and add like a tag like current client, past client, prospect. Just add those tags manually. And then when you can upload that list to HighLevel, then it segments those contacts. So then you know, okay, these are my current clients, past clients, prospects, and then any other details you have. But growing the importance of growing the email and SMS list, and I don't think this is like talked about enough, is because if you have email and SMS list, you can reach out to them anytime you want versus spending money. Just keep dumping money in Facebook, Instagram ads, or Google or whatever. You're gonna have to keep feeding that monster. Well, with email and SMS list, you just, oh, hey, I got a new listing. All right, just send an email blast out or a new product or oh, someone canceled my appointment, my Botox appointment. I don't have any my whole afternoon's open because three people canceled on me. Well, that aesthetic brand or that med spa could then hit that list, send out a text blast, hey, get 10% off now if you come in this afternoon. That's a pretty common use case. So, and not to mention for e-com brands and any products in general, the old saying is, and it might be higher now, for every email you have on your list, you should be making $1 per email on your list. And it's probably higher for SMS because the open rates are even higher for SMS.
Yeah. And you kind of went back to basics here, and it's something that I would have thought of doing, right? And it's tedious. So it's like I'll do that later, or it's not fun. But going through your list from, whether it's a fast scan or a medium fast scan, just seeing who pops out, whether it's a letter or a number, start with that tag, and then you can get a little bit more detailed as you go. Um, but now, like, okay, we tag everybody on that list. We have them in HighLevel. You talked about before custom values. You talked a little bit before about like just making sure the information's in there. What are some custom values or ways that you organize or that you would recommend someone to organize their list?
Yeah, let's stick with the realtor way. So say we're building a bot app for a realtor. This is a great example of the comments feature. Say, and this could be a just a company in itself. Just this one service is for realtors. And if someone's watching and they use this, great. Just run with it. All right, for example, if a realtor has a new listing out, they can connect their social media to HighLevel. Then if they well, say if they have that listing out, you see realtors posting, "Yeah, I got this 123 East Main Street property that's came on the market."
It's the best
Uh,
property ever. They're pumped
yeah,
up about it. They're doing videos. They're
and
all out on it.
oh yeah, most times it says, "Call me at blah blah blah," or better yet, they put the a link to their website to the listing in the caption. Well, on Instagram, links do not work in captions. And it's like, dude, all right. So instead of that, you can connect the comments feature to that particular post and say comment 123 East, or just say Main Street is the comment or the trigger word because it's related to that post. You need a trigger word. Then it'll respond back, say like, for example, the caption could say, we just got this new listing on 123 East Main Street. It is amazing. Comment Main Street if you want more info. They comment Main Street and it sends the link to the listing. And you're creating that one-on-one conversation privately in the DMs. Then the agents can just talk back and forth. Hey, when do you want to come in? Are you interested in an open house? Open house is Sunday. And rather than hope someone calls me or goes to my link in my bio, clicks that, goes to the website, hoping they go to the listing.
Yeah, that's such right. That's the way that maybe they're being trained, right? Maybe right. It's all about who you follow and who you get knowledge from and the source of it. So that could be something that someone teaches internally. That could be something that they watch on like a 5-year-old webinar. And I think we spoke about this previous, like staying up to date, best practices, being familiar, right? Your sources of the source of truth or strategy is key. But if we stick on this real estate example here, the old school way is just to get them to your MLS listing and maybe they fill out this long form, right, to get in your MLS. And look, once they're in your MLS, it's great because they're seeing the listings. They're kind of like navigating the town or county that they want to potentially move into. But I think where this would really work great to what you're saying is that one, the personality, you're attaching your human side to it. So now they know, all right, this person's responding to my message. They're engaged. I've seen bigger companies do this. This person is up to speed on what's in. So I want to work with him or her because they also live in the area. So it connects like authority with personality, with style, with trendiness, right? That's all important. And then I think that once that communication goes, you could still convert them into the MLS. Or let's say they're not looking to buy, they want to sell their home, then they
Yeah.
wouldn't really need the MLS at that point. They need to speak with a listing agent. So now I think to your point, and correct me if I'm wrong, get them in the DMs or the messenger or the two-way text or the two-way email so they know that you're the human being that can help them and they don't have to look anymore. I'm here. So you want to sell? This is the process.
Yeah. Um, you were talking, I think you asked about custom user fields. So,
Yes.
for example, for the realtor, for sticking on that, is um, say they have the trigger phrase on maybe all their posts, and it says DM me for more info. It could say in the DMs, the bot could say, "Hey, look, are you looking to list your house or buy a house?" And they say buy. It'll save it to the custom user field called buyer or seller. And then it'll say, are you currently working with an agent? That's another custom user field. And it says, it'll automatically say yes or no. And it saves all that data in custom user fields. And then if say you're building this out for an agency or you're an agency yourself, it can then send all that data to the agent and an email says, Joe Smith's looking to buy in um, Laguna Beach, California. He's looking to move within 6 months, all of this stuff. And you can actually book appointments too through the AI chatbot, in addition to collecting all that information and segmenting that audience for your list.
I'm looking at your shirt. You have the list builder shirt, your company. And when I first met you and I thought of list building, I'm thinking that's so basic, right? That's so everybody knows how to everybody you should know how to do that, right? But as we dig a little deeper and we chat, right, there's so many thin slice strategies that list building is an art. It's like
Yeah.
being a chef. You could cook, but there's nothing like a Michelin chef or a five-star restaurant or a Zagat approved restaurant. Like it's just the quality is so key. And you put a lot of perspective in my mind about this, and I hope our audience that's watching really starts to put some respect on it, right? Put some respect on the list. Really look at the list as a privilege that if they're staying opted in, give them quality offers, give them quality information, respect their eyes, respect their attention, and they'll either forward it or do business with you. And I think that's so important in today where you had mentioned you hired someone to do content, right? And now everyone's or I wouldn't say everyone, but a lot of people are doing content. A lot of people are expressing their creativity, their personality. They're doing podcasts like this. They're doing reels. They're doing stories. They're doing, like you said, trends that they're getting punched in the face through the previous video and they're popping on
Yeah.
in, right? It's like, it's just so much fun, right? And it's engaging. But what's the end goal of it? Goal of it is to have a two-way conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like, I really want to drive home this point too.
Go
If you
for
have
it.
social media and you're, like I say, influencer, there's so many influencers out there with a huge amount of following, but they don't really make that much money. You think they would, but they don't. It's because they don't utilize their social media to their advantage. So a good example of this is say it's a influencer and they want to do a brand deal. They have 100,000 followers on Instagram. Well, what do you think's gonna be worth more to that brand, say like Nike? Is it 100,000 followers, or is it 100,000 followers plus 100,000 on your email list plus 100,000 SMS subscribers? That influencer is going to get way bigger amount of money for that brand deal if they have email list, SMS list, and can reach, I don't know, the 100,000 followers on Instagram, for example. That's the importance of a list. And I think that's the missing piece that I think a majority of the companies and influencers and people using social media, that's the missing link. And you can do all that with HighLevel. And you can send email and SMS lists through HighLevel. Like you can send those email blasts out through. It's the same tool. There's nothing else like it. This is like if I build a tool, this is it. HighLevel is the tool.
Yeah, man. And you say it so passionately because you've made money with it, right? When we talked, this is your business. This is what you focus on. You have people that trust you to build a list. You have people that trust you to manage their accounts. You have people that trust you with their business or concept idea, their retention based on your list building skill set. And, as you think about that more and more, you wonder, well, how come everyone's not doing it? And I think the answer to that is that because everyone doesn't know how to do it or doesn't want to do it. And
Yeah.
that's like the greatest part about the world we live in and what we do is that there's so much for everyone to get involved in. And look, if you have some great feedback that you've shared and some best practices, if it was that easy, everybody would do it, right? And if it was that if you were greedy with it, you wouldn't be sharing what you share. So I want to take what we spoke about so far with right starting the conversation, being the igniter, right? Pressing the button so you're the one that starts the conversation, making sure that you're engaging in social media. And I think, because there are so many AI bots, there's so many fictitious figures that are out there. Like, you don't know if that's a real person or not a real person. How do you bring the best perception to reality? Like, how do you bring the best version of yourself or your business to someone who doesn't know you directly or maybe heard about you? How do you bring that best version so that way they are looking at it as, okay, let me give them my ear, let me give them my eyes, let me give them my time.
I think it's just being passionate about what you do, being your authentic self. Like, good example of this being transparent. I didn't know if I should wear my hat backwards or forwards, even wear a hat on this call because I don't know. I'm still getting, I love doing calls like this, but it just feels the most comfortable with my hat on backwards. And then you could see, hopefully, my passion comes through and that authenticity. I think that goes a long way. So I think that's the best thing to do on social media and just be your authentic self. And those people who like you are going to like you or love you. And those people who don't really care or don't, those aren't the people you want following you anyways. So just be yourself. I think that's the most, be yourself. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and don't be afraid to try because you don't know what's going to happen if you don't actually book the one-way ticket and change your whole life. Just 1 minute can change your whole life.
Yeah, you shared it in your story, and you it's an inspiration, right? I think we all have our stories, and we all have our pivotal moments in our lives. And the perception you give out is that I know what I know. I'm here to help, and if you need something, reach out, right? It's just you have that personality of yours comes out authentically, comes out normally. At least what I'm reading, right? And I've seen others that maybe they go out of their way to be something they may not be because they want to be accepted or they want to be in the right room and they're not quite there yet, maybe by official status. Um, Getting back to perception, is a reality. What's the perception if someone, in your experience, what's the perception if someone sends a message to a brand or personality or person and doesn't get a response back for 3 hours or 5 hours?
I've done it so many times. Like for a good example is this brand I was like, they make these amazing wallets, like these metal, really cool looking wallets. And I'm like, I lose my wallet, like I've lost it, I don't know how many times. And it was really cool metal wallet. And I'm like, hey, does this have a MagSafe on the back so I can connect it to my phone? And I was wanting to buy a wallet. These are like $250 wallets. They're like made of titanium. I'm like, I don't want to spend that much money if I don't can't put it on the back of my phone so I don't lose it. And I didn't hear back from her like 3 days. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go to Amazon and buy. I bought a $17 metal wallet. It sticks to the back of my phone. So they just lost that sale just because they didn't respond back. Just a simple question. Like you could put that in your FAQs in your chatbot, and they could have made a sale like that.
Yeah. For someone that you engage with, that you talk to, that there's a two-way conversation. With your experience, you know that it's not a human being, but you could see that they've invested some time in crafting the right dialogue. What's your perception of that type of business or brand?
As far as the bot personality goes,
Yeah, so it's a bot, but it's like an authentic. It's like a cool bot because like they're responding back like a human, but you could detect that it's still a bot. What's your perception of that brand?
I think it's cool. I mean, I be might be a little biased just because I make the bots, but I think it's fun, like putting personalities to bots. Like one of the bots in particular I have for List Builder, it has the voice of Amy Schumer. So she's like, she'll joke around with you and stuff, and it's pretty wild that you can do that. But you could put your like you can put your own brand voice. Like for example, I use dude a lot and man, and I kind of have that, I guess, Cali swag, even though I'm an Indiana boy. Uh, but I think that goes a long way, and you're going to connect with a lot more people through that, and you can always jump in and take over if you want to inside a high level.
I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you. Like, I'm asking, my original questions were on the perception, right? Like someone that has a bot that doesn't have a bot, but you just do something totally different that I didn't even think about even mentioning was the brand voice. The brand voice is the perception, whether it's funny, professional, celebrity like, or what, that brand voice is so key. And correct me if I'm, just correct me if I'm off here. you're connecting this, let's say, whether it's through high level conversation AI, whether it's ChatGPT 4.0 or any other, you're doing this in the prompts. Are you setting
Yep.
this up in the prompts, or are you setting this up from like a bot memory perspective?
Yeah, you just set it up in the prompt. So usually you have role, goal, rules, conversation flow, like example of conversation flow and context. So you just put it in your role. So in your role, cool thing about having ChatGPT connected, OpenAI, is you can just simply write out, I want my your name is Jason, but your bot personality is I want you to speak like Joe Rogan, and it will. It is wild.
So cool, man. And you know, again, you threw a little nugget out there, and I take these, I take these and run with it because a lot of, like we spoke about earlier, I consumed a lot of information throughout my early years of learning and growing within the industry, and I didn't always put it into action. But now, in the last 5 years, I put more into action than just massive consumption. You had mentioned role, goal, conversation flow. For those that are inspired or at least motivated because they caught your personality, the perception of your knowledge, and what you've shared today says, like, this is something I need to look into a little further. Build my list, build my social engagement, and build my personality of my business. Um, but they haven't delved into AI as a tool yet. Could you walk us briefly through this formula or this prompt flow that you were talking about briefly?
Yeah, so you talking about role, goal, rules,
Yep.
context. So yeah, the role is the bot personality who it identifies it with, like your name, like you just give it a name, the personality, the brand voice, uh, the goal. The goal is to set, like you usually, if you want, end goal is to set appointments or answer any FAQs someone user might have. Uh, rules are like, hey, don't when you answer, don't go over 250 characters. Don't say particular words like, is there anything else I can help you with? Like at end of each uh answer. You usually, I mean, you can get pretty lengthy in the rules.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing too when we're building these bots out. We start with one prompt. Then we test the bot, see how it interacts, and then if it goes, it's too lengthy in an answer, you just go back to the rules, add the rule. Say, for example, don't go any when you answer, don't go any further than 250 characters. And then you have the second version of the prompt and just keep dialing in that prompt. So anyone that's building chatbots, start with version one prompt, duplicate that prompt. I'm using ClickUp to help organize all these prompts instead of
Mm-hmm.
like using Google Docs. Because a lot of people, I run calls every single day to help uh, people build their chatbots out Monday through Friday. And one of the things I see, they use Google Docs and they overwrite the prompt every single time. But you don't know what you just changed in the previous prompt. So then you're going to be chasing your tail like, oh, did that work? Oh crap. What did I change in that first version of the prompt? So we start with version one, duplicate it, highlight what we just changed from version one. That way we can keep track of what we added or deleted. So that's just one of the best practices when you're building the AI chatbots is you're gonna have to go through a lot of prompts to dial in the bot. And it's gonna keep getting better over time.
And that's why there's a service provider that does this, right? Because it requires expertise. You're looking at these bots all the time. You're obviously passionate about it. You've made it a business model. You use HighLevel as a daily active user. You build this out for people that use HighLevel. You believe in it. You speak highly about it. I think all of those elements is for the exact reason why we put out these types of episodes for our customers, whether they're legacy customer from the beginning or they're brand new 30 days here. Um, Jeff, you've been a pleasure to be with here, and I appreciate you just being you, right? And sharing your experience, sharing your insight, and really connecting with our audience to build their confidence that they need to be putting themselves out there, and they need to not be afraid of having conversations with people, um, whether they're reaching out initially as a courtesy, whether they're building a list around a topic or an initiative, or building a bot to be available for their customers or their prospects is all important of the human side of timely conversations. Because if you don't do it, someone else is going to end up taking that person and doing it for them. So, do you mind helping me wrap this up? Is there any wisdom, any best practice, anything you want to share with our audience as we bring this episode to an end?
Yeah, I would say just don't be afraid to go in, dive into what you've learned because you probably learned a bunch digesting some of these videos and trying to apply what you just learned, even if it's just for yourself. Just go in and play like mess around with high level, try to build stuff out, and then start reaching out to particular uh, prospects and then showing them what you built. And don't be afraid to give first because that is how you're going to pick up clients. The whole reason why I built one of my softwares is to build chatbots, like being able to show exactly what it is. Back to that same story I started with at the very beginning. If I didn't take the time, it took me like probably 3 or 4 hours to build that demo bot that looked exactly like their HighLevel account or HighLevel, their Instagram account. If I didn't take the time to do that, I wouldn't be here speaking with you today. Just put yourself out there, give. Don't be afraid to give first, and don't expect it to happen on the back end. It's just gonna like the universe is gonna like deliver. Just keep putting yourself out there and just help, I guess. Give. And
I Beautifully
it'll,
said, Jeff. And you've been courteous enough where we're going to be including a link below from Jeff. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description. If you're watching this through our gohighlevel.com/blogs, it'll be below the video. If you're on our social, visit our Spotlight landing page. The link will be in the caption. But Jeff's put some information on his website for you to connect with him, for you to learn more about what he does or how we can help you. Jeff, you've been very generous with your time. It's amazing to finally get you on the episode. Thank you for joining us. And for our audience, we always appreciate you, whether you're new or a legacy customer of ours. If you're just finding out about HighLevel, click the link below. There's a trial courtesy to you to experience what Jeff's been talking about, referencing HighLevel throughout his conversation with us. And we love for you to experience it for yourself. Till next time, the next Spotlight session may be the one that changes how your business runs. We're looking forward to connect with you, and thank you for tuning in today with Jeff and myself. Till next time.